Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is a paid request from Bjorn. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, PayPal is usually the best bet. Or join my Patreon. Links are in the info box wherever it's at. It could be any topic, reaction, tier list, commentary, review, movie re-review, video game playthrough, or let's try for an hour, whatever the case. Again, PayPal, Patreon. I do have Cash App in case if people want to ask. I do have that. It's working. Just had to update it. But Honey, I Blew Up the Kid is the film we're talking about today. Now, to be honest, I haven't seen this film since probably when I was a kid. Just Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is a fun movie. Came out in 1989. I mean, that's the same year, time of Lethal Weapon 2, Batman, Indiana Jones, and The Last Crusade. Ghostbusters 2, a crazy time period. A lot of fun movies. And it was a huge success. I'm not sure if it won the special effects. It was definitely nominated, I believe. But it, of course, with that success, there's going to be a sequel. And this one, I think, it still made money, just not as prominent as the first. And then I think the only thing afterward was there was a short-lived TV show, and then Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, which went direct-to-video. Which I remember not minding for a direct-to-video film. It was cool that Rick Moranis was back and the star of it. And now he's the one shrunk. Although, you could tell because of the limitations, like, they couldn't do as much compared with the first. In terms of creativity. Anyway. This, I mean, to be fair, you never needed a sequel. And while this is not as good as the first, it was cute. That was a cute film. Rick Branis definitely helps him coming back. It's kind of cool to see that he's a bit more at the forefront in this movie. Because Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, he's in it, of course. But it's more about the kids being shrunk and their adventure and all the ups and downs of going through the yard. The bees, the ants, all that stuff. Which has a lot more creative special effects. Stop motion animation, things of that nature. And then once in a while, you have Rick Moranis searching, and really, but not really in on the action. Here, Rick Moranis gets to be a bit more in the action, where he's been hit through with doors, and when the baby's giant, he's trying to talk to it. He falls, and it slides down the inside pant of the baby, and like I say, it was nice to see Rick be a bit more proactive in a way. And I'm sure maybe it's not running time wise, but it felt like he was in this more. If that makes sense. Marcia Strassman comes back as his wife. Sadly, she has passed away. But she did a good job. She had nice chemistry with Rick Moranis. I don't think she's in the third movie. I think she had passed away at that point, I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe. And if so, that's the sad case. You know, it's too bad. Now, the guy who directed is Randal Kleiser, who did some pretty, like Grease. I mean, I didn't know that the same guy who did Grease with John Travolta did this film. And then also Fly the Navigator from the 80s with the boy and the spaceship, voiced by Paul Reubens, may he rest in peace, Pee Wee Herman himself. I didn't know that same guy who directed those directed this. Now, he does have a handle on the special effects. The special effects are fairly good, even to this day. I mean, this was 1992, and I think a lot of the special effects holds up fairly well. But the setup of the film is some time has passed. They don't feature any of the neighbors from the first film. So the other two boys who was with part of the four that were trapped in the lawn, they don't come back. Matt Frewer, he doesn't come back. So I don't know what happened to them. I guess, to be fair, this family moved. They moved to Nevada. The reason being is we have an ending in Vegas. So I guess that also you could showcase why the neighbor family isn't in it. The older sister, she's in it for like 30 seconds, then she left apparently for like college or something. So yeah, Rip Branis, Marcia Strassman. You have the little kid Nick, who is much older now. He likes to play the guitar, which he had no interest in the first movie. But I guess the assumption is people change in a couple years. In this case, what, 3 or so years. But almost to a point, it didn't really almost seem like the same kid as the first one. And there's a new 2-year-old son who loves to play around, gets out of his playpen, likes to steal the one kid Nick's guitar. If he does something bad, he'll go, I'll fix it, I'll fix it, I'll fix it. And I read up that apparently the kid was hard to deal with because he's 2 years old. And usually with that, they get twins. But on screen, I thought they did a nice job because I don't think he was annoying. Maybe some people will feel he was irritating. I didn't feel that at all. I felt that the way they worked around it and edited around whatever was going on set with the difficulty of the kid, because again, it's a 2-year-old. What, not a whole lot you could do. He didn't seem irritating. He seemed sweet in terms of, I'll fix it, I'll fix it. When the mom finds out what happened, she passes out, and he's like, Mama fall down? Is Mama sleeping? Which our woman did kind of a sweet chuckle out of me. And that's very important because that's going to be the big part of the thrust of the film. I know the title, some people got, like, you blew up the kid. Like, some people were upset by the title, but, I mean, it's not like your trauma. It's no, you blew up, you got taller. I think you can figure it out without much effort. So the story is that Rip Moranis is working with this big lab and these other technicians, and they're trying to increase stuff. Granted, you would think while things got screwed up in the first film, a shrinking machine would be revolutionary. I mean, there's a reason you made that in the first place. Now you know how to do it and fix it. So the fact that he didn't go on with this technology and become... You don't have to tell that your kids got shrunk, because he even admits, the reason we didn't tell anybody about that because we don't want you guys experimented on. But you have a working shrinking machine. And you're not a world famous guy? I don't think they really explained that properly. Instead, apparently he took his shrinking machine and put it in a crate and put it in the warehouse where the Ark of the Covenant is at, among other stuff. And I did that you want to be careful, but at the same time, the reasons you're having that is also probably the reasons why you're in this lab, to make things bigger. It's not like he went away from technology ever. It's not like he went away from experimenting ever. No, he just went to another state, another town, and now it's to make things bigger. And I'm sitting there going, okay, you're doing this. Well, he's not really a money guy, so you're doing it for a greater purpose. Isn't shrinking things done for better purpose as well? So now that you know how to do that, why don't you just follow through on that and do it more responsibly? But I mean, I don't know. You wouldn't have a sequel then, or something else to that effect. But I don't know, like, some of that stuff's not proper. But I know it's a kid's film. I'm going more in depth on that than I'm supposed to. We have a way that he's now on this thing because we have to make things bigger. So one day he wants to hang out with his older son Nick, and they take the younger kid, and the three of them go to the lab. Neither of them are watching the kid, the baby. The baby goes up to get his stuffed rabbit that's going to be part of the experiment. They both get zapped. They gotta get out of there. And when the kid is near electrical stuff, he'll get bigger. and ultimately Rick Branis and Nick, and then later on the mom find out that the baby at one point 7 feet tall. I would say that was the best part of the film, is when the baby is 7 feet tall and he's in the house and he's having to interact with Rick Moranis and interact with all the objects. And I thought that's where the comedy worked the best, because I think because we can all relate to it, and the special effects seemed a bit more unique in terms of, okay, yeah, make this guy, whoever they got in the costume, to make it look like a 7 foot tall baby. As, oh, give me the door, and then the door bounces back and Rip Moranis' head. Some fun slapstick there. And just the way they make this kid look so big amongst the other backdrop of the house and interacting with the other actors. Did a pretty good effort for 1992. Or the kid picks up the dad, and the Rick's like, put daddy down, put daddy down. When it does break out and it's much, much bigger, and there's like one point where it's kind of out on a road somewhere, and then later on in Vegas, it becomes kind of meh. Like, the special effects are not bad. There's a bit at the Hard Rock Cafe that he picks up the guitar because the baby wants to play the guitar. Or takes a car, which happens to have Nick and this other lady in it, which I'll get to, and it's going zoom, zoom, because this is just a toy car. You know, there's some entertaining special effects to be had there. But I guess the kid being so big amongst the other architecture of Vegas, I just because it goes on for quite a bit, you kind of get used to it. And because you get kind of used to it, it becomes less and less special. Compared to I Shrunk the Kids, so many things you get inundate the audience with. Oh, here's a massive candy bar, or not candy bar, but the oatmeal cookie with the filling. And oh, here's a massive bee, and there's a massive ant, and being lost in the cereal. And it felt like a consistent base of creative special effects that wow the audience, while here a baby being tall, which will make you go back to the days of, you know, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, or even, you know, the Statue of Liberty in Ghostbusters 2, 1989. It's nice special effects, but it doesn't seem as awe-inducing. It doesn't seem as creative. It doesn't seem as earth-shaking. Now, yes, when Honey, I Shrunk the Kids come out, there were other films that had miniature stuff. Inner Space. And, of course, films back in the day as well. The Incredible Shrinking Man. But I guess with something about that just seems a bit more unique in terms of what you do with effects and what you do with making a whole world that seems so much bigger, while here, as a world, there's just the city. It's just this one thing that's bigger, and I think before it ends, it kind of runs its course. But thankfully, the film, I don't think it was that boring. Some recognizable faces. Keri Russell is in it as his babysitter, who Nick has a crush on. Granted, she's completely useless. She comes by wanting her money. She witnesses all this. She's along for the ride. And then the rest of the film is just her along for the ride. She's in the car with Nick when the baby picks it up and puts it in their pocket. By the end, Nick makes the moves on her and she accepts it. But I mean, Keri Russell, who would later be in was a Felicity, bunch of other stuff. She really has nothing to do. Like, you could have taken that character completely out and not much would have changed. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't accomplish anything. She doesn't help out at all. So she is a pretty useless character. Lloyd Bridges, may he rest in peace. He's the president of Sterling Labs, Rick Moranis works for. And he becomes a good ally for Rick. And it's nice to see Lloyd Bridges. The first time I saw him was really his Hot Shots Part 2. And then I saw Hot Shots 1 and Airplane. And he just worked so great in comedy. He could be very straightforward. Right, he doesn't get to do a whole lot of comedy in this. He's just pretty much the authority figure that's an ally for Rick. But it's just I see Lloyd Bridges in there. I'm just a fan of the actor. His presence is greatly appreciated. John Shea, I believe his name. He played, I want to say, Lex Luthor in Lois and Clark, the Dean King Superman show. He's here as a scientist who's kind of our antagonist that wants to use tranquilizers to take down the baby, and he's the one to root against. Also, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen this since I was a kid. Bill Mosley is in the film as a federal marshal. He's in like 2 or 3 scenes when the baby first breaks out, and it's, cause a little bit of ruckus on the street, and off screen they are able to capture it and they're transporting it while Nick and Keri Russell, they're in the vehicle, and Bill Mosley's like, Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Like, Chop Top is in this? The Devil's Reject? One of the Devil's Rejects is in this? I didn't realize that at all, but there he is. I'm like, wow. But I mean, he was a working actor. Like, he had a big role in the Blob remake from 1988. I wonder if a single person have ever asked him about this movie. Granted, I'm sure he's like, hey, I was up for the part. Or maybe I just... Like, how did he just... His agent go in for this kid's film? It was just cool to see him there. And, I bet he's been asked about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and Devil's Rejects 100 times. If someone watches this and you see Bill Mosley, please ask him about Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. He would probably be like, you remember that movie? Like, if I ever met him, because he's on the Blob remake Blu-ray, so he talks about that, I would ask him about this movie. Be like, how did that come about, man? But that was really cool to see him in there. Like I say, he's only in like 2-3 scenes, but I kind of deeped out on that. But yeah, it's Rick Branis and the wife trying to find the shrinking machine. They go to this warehouse, they're able to find it eventually. There's this funny scene where they're in the car. He shrinks these 2 cops on motorcycles, and Marsha stops and goes, Szalinski, Wayne, you unshrink those policemen right now. And like in Rick Moranis, he's a national treasure. I mean, of course, the story is that he did quite a few films. He did Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2. He definitely loves these films. He always sticks to these films. Because again, he did this one, the first one. He did the third one that went direct to video. When there's talks of a new one, Rick's like, I'll do it. I guess this is the only franchise that he's the star. So he's like, this is his... Anyway, it became his baby in a way. I mean, there's not really any other franchise he got to star in. Except this one. And he did other films. He did Big Bully. He did... what was the one? Splitting Hairs? But anyway, for what I understand, his wife passed away. He kind of retired because he wanted to take care of the kids. And I guess he just was fine with it. Just other than there was a commercial he did with Ryan Reynolds, like one of those phone commercials. Then Sally was in the public eye because some asshat went up and randomly smacked him in the face. Probably didn't know who he was. Probably didn't know it was Rick Moranis. Just, here's some guy with glasses. Just smacked him. I think eventually they caught that asshat, that asshole, but I mean, I commend him. He didn't come back for the new Ghostbusters films. He's like, nope, we did those films already. I did, but Brand, you think, well, why would he come back for Honey and Shrunk? Well, his idea is different. He got the star in it. But I always liked him. I even liked him in Club Paradise with Robin Williams and Little Shop of Horrors from the 80s. Just a great talent. So, I will say I do miss him. It would be nice to see him in other movies, original films. But yeah, again, hope he's doing well. I don't know what he did for work since he quit acting. I'd have to look that up. But I said I've always been a Family Guy, so maybe that also helped in watching this. It felt like watching it for the first time because I didn't remember much about it. So seeing Rick Branis and him being used pretty heavily throughout the film brought a bit of joy. So maybe I'm giving the film more credit than it deserves. But I thought it was fun for what it was. Like I said, at one point it breaks out of that convoy. It's like 50 feet now. They're trying to talk the baby down. They finally have the shrink machine, but it has to stay still for a bit. Rick Moranis uses the dreaded word nap, and it upsets the baby. He almost gets stepped on. Like I said, when it gets to the Vegas, it just kind of got very blasé. Doesn't you think of, we're on the bees, and or we fall into the flower, and you get attacked by these creatures, and then again the cereal stuff, and they're hanging onto the dog, and it just felt like a lot more usage of special effects. Like there's effects being used, but it just didn't feel as awe-inspiring. I don't know how else to word it. Maybe that's just me. But I just, like I said, the babies amongst buildings, it's just kind of got, you just get used to it, and credit where credit is due to the effects people, but just didn't seem as special. And also the laughs, like the comedy kind of wasn't there in the third act. You say the same with the first movie, but at least the momentum, the action, the effects kind of kept the adventure part of it going. Here, the adventure kind of stalled because with the baby, it's a baby. It can't do a whole lot in terms of you can't have things attack it. There's one bit it trips and it cries, and the crowd's like, you're not gonna have the military attack the damn baby. You can't really have it crash through stuff and hurt people. Like so, it can't. The baby can't really do a whole lot. Get the guitar, vroom vroom with the car. So you're limited with what you can do because of that. So you can't cause a lot of destruction. You can't cause a lot of chaos. You can't obviously have anything hurt the character. So you're kind of in the standstill of, well, okay, what do we do? We're kind of just waiting with our thumbs up our ass until, spoiler, the mom gets the idea, make me bigger. She drives the helicopter. Back off. We're going to tranquilize her kid. I do like the helicopter pilot. Like, yes, ma'am. The kid goes up to his mom. They shrink him back to normal size. And the biggest lawsuit ever. Imagine that. This would be the biggest lawsuit ever. Yeah, oh, cool, a baby is safe. But you damn well know in reality, Rick Moranis, like, they would be in lawsuit hell for the next 20 years. All the destruction in Vegas and ripping up the guitar, and they're not going to let that just wash away. They're going to, like Lloyd Bridges, his company, Sterling Labs, that's out of business. They're done. Granted, maybe you could hopefully work it out with people going, oh wow, they could make something bigger, and we'll use that for world hunger. Because we can make food bigger, then people have more food, and then help with starvation. So maybe that could counteract it. Granted, none of that's ever mentioned in Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, because, again, it's a kid's film, so But, what say you? Do they have the biggest lawsuit ever, or are they able to counteract it with, well, we could make, we could solve world hunger? But yeah, it's not that kind of, it was a kid's film. Was it? I keep saying it was Disney. Yeah, it was Disney. And I don't think this film's on Blu-ray. I could be wrong on that. If I am, oh well. But I don't think it's on Blu-ray. It'll take me a minute to look on here. But yeah, at the end of the day, it'll take a minute for the phone to start. It's not as good as the first, but that was cute. Like I say, it's not as funny or it's not as wild in its visual imagination of really feeling like you're in a brand new world. To the point I said new twice. With it's just the lawn, it's just the backyard, but they really made it like this alien world. Here, it's not really the case. I don't know, just make you something bigger. Huh. Other than that. But other than that, it's just not as enticing. Again, other than that. Make it that bigger. It doesn't seem as exciting of a prospect compared to something being miniaturized, like in a sci-fi film. Rip Moranis is good. He's a big plus of the film. The kid wasn't too annoying or anything, not in the slightest. It gets like a pretty low rating, a 4.9. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's a 4.9 out of 10 bad. It's not a film I'll watch again and again, but well, someone has a Blu-ray, but it's discontinued. Oh, Disney Movie Club exclusive. That's what it was. Okay. You had to be part of the Disney Movie Club to get a Blu-ray. So it's discontinued. If you weren't part of that club, you couldn't get it. So, okay. It's like back to the day with the VHS of Disney. Put it back in the vault. So, the Disney Movie Club. I guess 2017. It was part of the Disney Movie Club. And of course, with this kind of stuff, it's not going to have any features. I guess there was a bundle with the first film. No, all three of them. Oh no. They have it here, but it says it's not announced. Okay, then why is it on here, Blu-ray.com? So, no. I just as someone like pontificating, we could do this. Yeah, but it's never gonna happen. Did Dean Cundey direct the third one? The guy who's like the DP for John Carpenter films and stuff? If so, I didn't know that. But I haven't seen the third one in years either. But I'm going off track. As it is, it's fine. It's decent. It's not great, but like I say, it was great to see Rip Moranis again. Has some pretty decent special effects. Has some cute moments. It pretty lags in the third act, but as is, again, you just see a lot worse movies. You know, but it's not as good as the first. But it's at least a decent time waster. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.